How's it going, YouTubers? Cornwolf here. Thank you for joining me for another video today. And today we've got a look at the latest instalment in this year's F1 2024. As always, I just want to say a very quick thank you to EA. I am part of the Creator Network and this has been brought to you via that program that they're running. So thank you very much to EA for providing me a copy of this game. All thoughts, opinions, etc. are all my own, but due to me being part of the network, I get sometimes copies of the game to review and bring you guys content. Before we get going, I do apologise. Need to get some content out about this, and I'm full of cold, so beautiful times. It is what it is. The weather here in England is very up and down, and it's probably breeding a lot of germs, but there we go. So rather than go into too much detail, because at this point these games are becoming very similar to the likes that we get for FIFA, a yearly instalment type of thing, I'm just going to tell you about what's new and then what I think about the game and like the updates that have come along with it. So what's new? The career mode has had quite a significant update, if you like. So it's been kind of given a bit of a revamp. So not only can you do your traditional own career and those wonderful things, you can now actually take a current driver or an icon, as they call them, or a legend, or whatever you want to call them, through the career mode. So, you know, can you see if Lando can get more than one win in a season? Can Alonso claw his way back from poor performance so far this year, apart from the first couple of races? Or screw it, let's just put Nigel Mansell in there and go for it and see what he can do in this era of F1. So that's really interesting and something, to be honest with you, I've not delved into just yet myself. Not had an awful lot of time with the game with being ill, but we'll get to that in a minute. And then to supplement the career mode, they've also sorted out and done a new driver recognition system, which basically means that whenever you make a decision on or off the track, so it could be a move on someone, it could be saying no to a teammate to let him past or whatever, and then obviously whatever you do in the media pen and surrounding the race actually has more bearing on rivalries and things like that, to make it more true to life and real. So there's that as well, and there's also now a new career challenge. So this is a preset event that happens every so often. It's like an online event, but it's not online, and you do the race and then you see where the career, so it could be 3 or 4 different events with a particular driver, and then you just see how you do with that driver compared to everyone else. So it's just something a little extra for you to do, and obviously for all my fellow co-opers out there, 2-player career is still there. Then moving on to handling, EA are doing an EA's dynamic handling, so they've got a new suspension system to make the weight distribution feel more realistic through the corners, improved tyre model, so when the tyres are cold, too hot, wet, etc., it's going to give you a bit more feedback and a little bit more kind of true to life feel on that. And then you've got the enhanced dynamics as well, and power unit settings to give you more control. So with all this bundled together, the cars are starting to feel more like they should do in real life. There's 2 circuits that have been given a significant update. So Spa and Silverstone. Silverstone looks more kind of true to life and accurate to its current state, and the same with Spa with the reprofiling of Eau Rouge and Radion. So that's kind of good, but to be fair, that I had to expect this with a yearly iteration, that at least the tracks are going to be updated in some way, shape or form. But I think quite a lot of them have had a bit of an overhaul as well, and I guess not a lot really changes with them year on year. Just some of them have reprofilings like in Spa, and maybe a few configuration changes and stuff. For the first time ever, we've actually got some of the actual driver voices, so they've taken some snippets of their reactions to winning a race, losing a race, what's that guy doing, that kind of stuff, and they're in there as well. If you're driving as that driver, you'll get their win and loss reactions, which will be interesting to see what Lando's is, and if they've updated it or going to update it now he's actually won a race. But yeah, it's something extra just to make it feel a little bit more immersive, I guess. All the teams, cars, drivers and all that have had quite a big overhaul. Definitely the drivers with their graphics, so they look more true to life now, and then the cars have gone through an overhaul with some pretty good CAD driving, so they look even more true to life. And then there's a couple of more icons that have been added into this, so you can now drive as Pastor Maldonado. Jamie Chadwick's in there, which I thought was interesting. Obviously, a renowned W Series driver, so you can actually now take her through F2 and F1 if you want to, which is pretty cool. Now enjoying the delights of NXT Next, and interesting to see how she goes through there. And then if you're lucky enough or you fancy buying the Champions Edition, you also get access to James Hunt and Juan Pablo Montoya. F2's been updated to the 2023 spec, and what I didn't realise until I watched a presentation about this game is that the F2 side of things is always going to be a year behind until they do the kind of midway update. And the reason for this is to make it more true to life when you're doing a career mode, because if you were in F2 now in 2024, unless you're doing a test, which some of them do in F1, they wouldn't go from F2 to this current version of F1. So basically the reason why it's always a year behind, like I say, until we get that iterative update, is basically because, well, that's not how it works in real life. You would start at 2023 and go to 2024. So that's why if you're doing a true to life kind of career, making your way up through F2 and then into F1, is to make it more realistic basically. So that's all the updates, and I just thought I'd give my 2 pence worth on the game. So overall it feels great. Like I said, I've not put as much time into it as I'd like. I've been busy and other things going on, and obviously not feeling very well, so I do apologise for that, but it does feel nice to an extent. It's great that basically as it stands, you don't have to pick up your wheel, plug it in, put it into another room, depending on what your setup's like and all that. You can just pick up a controller. And moving on from last year, I think it was last year, maybe the year before, where it was pretty much pick up and play, it's exactly the same. I've not had to so far tweak anything, other than personal preference, like the gear shifts up and down and where some of the buttons physically are for me. But other than that, I've not had to change any dead zones or anything like that. So it's actually works really well. Pick up the controller, play, which I know will appeal to those filthy casuals out there. Nothing wrong with that. If you just want to pick it up and play and do some of the daily events and whatnot, then do it. Let's go for it. The handling does feel a little bit off. It feels, so I but I drive with no assistance on, and yes, I do spin out occasionally, which you may see on some footage, but it's not that kind of, I'm not struggling that much with it, and I feel like the handling needs to be improved just that little bit more, because I know these cars can be right on a knife edge at times. So I'm hoping that a patch is going to come out soon that's going to address some of the handling issues, and on the wheel it just feels a bit, I saw someone else describe it as rubber banding, but not in terms of you to someone else, just kind of like the way it snaps the car back round kind of thing, but in quite a subtle way. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens from there. And I don't know if it's just me. A question to anybody that's watching this video: is it just me, or am I just a bit meh about just F1 in general at the minute? It's nice that we've had a few other people winning, and people are putting a bit more of a fight up to Red Bull. But the end of last year and the first few races this year, I'm losing my enthusiasm for F1 quite significantly. Not been podcasting about it as much, etc., just because it's been a bit meh. Like I say, last 3 races have been decent. Well, I say decent. Monaco was a bit of a bore. Once we got past the first lap incidents, it was literally just a procession. A couple of people doing some overtakes and maybe 1 or 2 pit stops, because everyone did it under red flag, and it was just a bit boring. But we are getting into the European leg. We're about to go to Canada, and then back to Europe, and hopefully that will just reinvigorate things. So I don't know whether I'm just generally a bit about it as a whole, that F1, or if it's just just me, and I don't want that to reflect the game. I do think that the game is really good, and I do really enjoy them. It's just I haven't got the enthusiasm to go, oh yeah, I really want to try and recreate this race, or I want to do this, or let's see how I can do there, because it's just a bit at the minute. So let me know in the comments, let me know what you think. If you've picked it up, if you fancy a race at any point, just give me a shout. I am on the PS5, and until next time, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think, give it a thumbs up, all those wonderful things, and hopefully I'll try and get a bit more content out for F1. we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So thank you very much, guys, and I shall see you on the next video. Bye-bye.